Welcome to the Dimecast podcast brought to you by SOA Sports. We're in our studio. We're back. First time in 2025. I'm Brother Duran, along with the one and only, the reason we even have a podcast, the leader of Team Dimes, the LA Dimes. I got my shirt ready to go. Danny Hernandez. And Danny, I missed you. You've been gone. You've been everywhere. And this is now season 2 of the podcast. Make sure you subscribe, you rate. And if you don't like Danny, tell your friends you don't like him and send them the link. If you love Danny, tell your haters that you know Danny and send them the link. Basically, just send them the link because I love when Danny posts on his Instagram, oh, he's watching the podcast on YouTube. And it's like, it be your own.
Yep.
That tells you, what are you doing, right?
Yep, exactly.
Everybody's like, oh, you should do it, but they don't support you.
Yeah. It's a wild world, man.
But then you get messages from all over the world.
Yes.
Danny, I love the message.
Yep.
Danny, I've never met you. Danny, you're great. That's me telling you that.
Yeah.
It'd be your own, Danny.
It'd be your own.
It'd be your own. Now that we're in season 2, we're going to talk a lot about what's going on in 2025.
Mm-hmm.
The episodes coming up are going to be about the development of young quarterbacks. But I've been able to take myself away from being your co-host because I don't know anything about the quarterback world. But I've learned a lot from you. And just following your social media, Danny, holy smokes, you don't sleep. No. This is the time of the year that you are slammed, right?
Yeah, there's a lot going on, prepping for camps. Just this weekend alone, the Elite 11 camp is going on. So getting those guys ready for that. That was something I know we talked about in an episode on different camps that kind of pop up. Preparation with coaches, guys are visiting colleges, guys are trying to make some of these decisions. We went through a portal season, which that was another wild one, definitely a wild one this last portal season.
Yeah, that's the next episode is portal craziness. Wow, we need time for that one.
And then there'll be another portal opening in about a month, so that'll be a whole other thing. Won't be as wild as the first one normally is not, but, doing whatever you can to prep for that too.
You recently had a camp with quarterbacks, which is not a new story, but from Japan.
Yes.
They went to the oceanside spot.
Yes.
And you had about 15 QBs that came from Japan.
Yes.
And you had them there for the weekend. I know Jake Meyer was there, our boy from Canada.
Yep.
But what? How did you get quarterbacks from Japan to show up at Oceanside?
This has been an absolute blessing that we've been able to work with these guys. They work with the group in Japan called QB Dojo. And this is our third
QB
year.
Dojo?
QB Dojo.
We need shirts.
Yes.
Abraham, we need shirts.
Without
QB
a doubt,
Dojo.
we need shirts because that would be real dope right there for sure. And this is the third year that we've done this with them. And a whole different group of quarterbacks, and this year.
High school kids?
High school and a couple of the guys a little bit older than that. Probably mainly college, to be honest with you, but younger on the younger side for college. And I mean, it's so humbling working with these kids because you get a chance to see how into it they are for this position. And we have guys over here that have been playing the position since they were 7 years old or whatever the case is. These guys, they haven't been playing it that long. So I'm real curious. I'm trying to find out, did you get pushback from your family, to play this? Because this is not, as known, and what do you love the most about it? And we had a moment in our third day of the camp where we just kind of talked about what's your why, right? And it was really cool to hear some of these guys just talk about how, hey, I play this position, because I wanted to earn the respect of my teammates. I respect this position. I want when everything's going down, I wanted it to be on me. I want to be able to help my guys out. It was really cool. They want all that added pressure, and they respect, again, the position and everything that it takes, to be a good quarterback. That was cool.
We know that there's a pro league in Japan.
Yes.
It's not an elite league, but it is a pro league because one of your friends is out there,
yes.
QB,
yes.
right?
Garrett Safran.
Garrett, yeah, yes. Right? And we've heard of different players that go out there, and they'll have a couple Americans, but most of them are sponsored by a car company or a dealership or something, and let's just say Honda football, right? Whatever, and you're there. It's cool, but it's not an elite league.
Yes.
But is there a high school development league coming through?
Yeah, so there's
all that
some
stuff?
high school development, college, these guys are doing. So that's kind of what's happening with these guys now. And again, I had no idea before, a couple years ago. I just thought, okay, maybe these guys are playing in some kind of adult league or something like that.
That's what I thought it was when you first told me.
Yeah, no, they're not. They're in a full-on league, and the amount of ball that they actually know is awesome, man. To be honest with you, I was pleasantly surprised. It's tough to kind of shock me now. I was definitely in shock the first year that I did it. Now I think we feel like we've kind of raised the standard. It's like, but we get along with these guys so much. We're giving out nicknames, to some of these dudes, and they're following us on social media. We're following them. We ended up mixing American quarterbacks in the mix, which they always ask for. And whenever we end up doing that, we make sure that they're warming up with one another. They're communicating. They click, and it's funny, man, how much you could get across in this whole thing, not being able to speak the language. Yeah. We had one guy that was really good with his English. His nickname was Translator. Okay, just because of that. So Translator, let's do it. Hey, good throw, Translator. Like that. So
it's like the military where they just give you a nickname out of nowhere.
And that's how it was. And they loved it. Again, great sense of humor. All those guys. Again, just over the top focus, which was great. But them being able to have us communicating with a lot of hand gestures. So we've talked about it. We're already like this on everything that we end up doing. So now it's like, hey, your front shoulder open like this, here, no, close. Like doing things like that, and like they completely get it, man. It's pretty cool.
So this is fascinating. This is beautiful where a ball can take you all over the world. And when you see these pictures, like I saw on your Instagram, they were coming here and working. I saw you guys different videos from them. What I loved was, I think the third day you guys like a film session.
Yes.
And it was in this nice room.
Yes.
You had the TV up there, and it was a picture that you had from the background.
Yes.
And every single kid's head was staring at the wall, locked in.
Dialed, man. You see these guys dialed, and the notes that they're taking and the questions that they're asking. And
because a translator, you can help.
Yeah, translator, he's helping with that, and it's funny because we would have moments where they're doing their best to try to communicate, because some of them do have a little bit of English.
Yeah.
So they're doing their best and trying to communicate some of that stuff, and it was really cool to see that. And then we'd have some moments where it's like, all right, we're going to focus on this right now. We want you to speak Japanese right now. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, of course, we don't understand it, but their coach that's there, he understands it. Just know these are kind of the boxes we're trying to check when we talk about this whole thing. So if you could kind of work on checking those boxes, but keep it in your language, because you got to practice this stuff, because when you guys go back home, that's what you're doing it in. You know what I'm saying? Right. So, when we're here, practice English and do that. And then you got, like, translator was his was really cool, because he went into his whole why on the quarterback position and did this whole thing in English. And then he ends up now explaining everything in Japanese. And the joke with him was, the guy was so confident in English, and he was just hitting, great stuff. And then we see him when he's explaining it in Japanese, and we're kind of catching him, like, kind of looking for words, right? He's then he's going on looking, and then he says the word, then he says the word. I'm like, hey, man, you're a lot more confident in English over here, dude. And then his coach is I'm like, yeah, I think he needs to practice his Japanese a little bit. So it was kind of funny, man. But it was great. Such a great experience.
As a coach, is it refreshing when you're basically having, clay right there that you can just mold?
Without a doubt. I had this conversation again when we have these weekends. Jake Mayer, who I spent a ton of hours throughout the years with. He's now in Arizona and doing this thing and training quarterbacks out of this. So I don't get to see him.
He's still playing in Canada.
Yeah,
right?
Still playing in Canada.
Okay.
I don't get a chance to see him as much during the off season. He's
That's
working
Beagle.
his training. Yeah,
Beagle's gone.
Yeah, it is. So for us to get back into that mix, and we spent a lot of time talking. I think every night we stood up till past 2 a.m, and we're just talking ball, we're talking life, we're talking all these different things. And it's funny because it came up, he's like, man, how do you keep the energy, to keep doing this whole thing? It's like, look, I'm telling you right now, I get just as excited working with the 5-star guy that has all these NIL opportunities, and he's going to, do all this great stuff. And with the guy that he's just a regular, dude, and just trying to make it happen. And if he could end up starting on his JV team, or he could be starting on his team in Japan, I get just as much excitement. And if it gets to a point where I don't get excited for that, then I know it's probably my time to step back,
Because you're in the sun.
Yeah.
You're in the rain. By the way, it's raining here in Southern California.
Yes.
Danny had the umbrella out.
I was out
And you
there.
asked the question, am I being soft? I'll tell you right now, Danny.
The majority of people told me I was soft.
Because those people are wrong. They are wrong because the reason taxes are so high in California is so we can afford the nice weather.
There you go.
Well, we can't afford it, but so we can have the nice weather.
True.
Right? So if you're going to be calling me soft, go ahead.
Go ahead and call me
We don't
soft.
need to get the beard all wet, bro.
No.
The quarterbacks, yes.
Yes.
No.
They got to work in the elements, and we've had a couple of days of rain, and I'll tell you right now, totally off top, but I was pleasantly surprised to see how well these guys did in the elements, because, I'm always teasing them. They look at us California quarterbacks over here like we got perfect weather. You're waking up in the morning, having your avocado toast and your little coffee and I don't know what, this and that. Yeah, it really is. But you're living the good life. Whereas we see some of the kids, and I work with a lot of kids that are, all over the country, and I see what they're dealing with, man. They're sending me drills and they're in the snow, hey coach, it's super windy right now. We got the storm. I'm trying to send you some clips, but so yeah, we got it made.
That's a you problem.
Yeah,
that's a you problem. Yeah. Hopefully you get drafted by a team that has the dome.
Yeah, there you go. Very true.
And everybody's like, oh, it's soft. Like, no, all these college programs, all these NFL programs, they all have indoor facilities.
Not all NFL. Not all NFL.
Who does it?
Well, we spent some time this weekend with Bryce Young, and
Carolina.
We're talking everything else. He's like, well, yeah, we don't have a bubble. We don't have an indoor. I'm
Carolina
like,
doesn't have to worry about snow.
They get a little bit of weather though too, man. It gets a little
rain. Come on, Bryce.
Yeah,
let's go. Come on, Canales. Let's go. There's no need for that.
Right? Yeah, I know.
But back to the Japanese quarterbacks. This is where I kind of want to get to, and the reason why we do this podcast, right? We're not making any money off of this. We're doing it for fun and just tell you the behind the scenes.
love of the game.
Yes, for the behind the scenes of what's going on. Is Danny? You work with some kids who. Okay, I'm not gonna say that you work with them now. You've worked and encountered kids who come in with the biggest attitude, the biggest ego, the biggest entourage, the nightmare kid, amazing talent, but you don't want to deal with them because of the outside factors, right? Yes. Then you go and you deal with these kids from Japan who have no real structure of what's going on. Mm-hmm. There's not like thousands of high schools that they can go play. It's very limited. But this is the real love for the game with these kids right here. And they just soak up everything. It's a sponge.
Oh, absolutely. It's refreshing, to be honest with you, because they are just completely dialed when they're there. And again, there's great kids, but we have so many different distractions, right? I might have a kid in a meeting. I'm seeing him check his phone real quick or do whatever the case is. And these guys, I mean, everything's put away. They're completely dialed. They're hanging on to every single word. They're writing their notes. You end up making a comment to them when they end up making a throw. They won't just look back at you like, okay, sure, coach, thanks. They'll make it a point to come back and want to know exactly what it was that we ended up saying to them, So I love that standard that they've been able to set, and it just kind of changes my attitude a little bit when I get back to working with our guys regularly. But yeah, it's been great, man, for sure.
QB Dojo, that's who you work with?
Yeah.
Out in Japan, huh?
Yep.
So these guys come through, they're doing that work. When you leave them, right? Do they stay in contact with you?
Or? Yeah. No, we stay in contact. We'll communicate. And the one thing I really wanted to make it a point to hammer home to this group of guys is, hey man, you guys have made a family over here. Understand that the session doesn't stop with right when you guys go back home. If there's things that you need help with where, I don't know, you're struggling mechanically and you want to send me a video, and I do this for kids all over the country, like give them a whole mechanical breakdown on stuff. And there's stuff I could help you. You got Google Translate. You could end up, figuring that whole thing out that I'm saying, on it. Said you're more than welcome, to that resource and this network and this family-like environment, So, we definitely keep in touch.
You seem fresh.
I feel fresh.
Yeah,
I feel fresh.
You look good.
Fresh. Thank you, man.
The beard's smooth.
Thank you.
Yeah. The Japanese players gave you some energy.
Gave me some life. It's kind of like a reset. Again, the part that we're thankful for too is that property that we do stuff out in Oceanside. It's different. It's just different, and you kind of it gives you an opportunity to kind of reflect back on everything. There's so many kids that we've worked with throughout the years that have been able to be there and just kind of see that it's a special place, and honestly, it's like a reset for all of us when we're over there. So I got to get you out there soon.
Oh, absolutely. I want to go. I want to go hang out there. Konnichiwa, a couple Japanese words. Here we go.
I like it.
I'll bring the sake for the 2 a.m. Me and you and Jake.
I like it.
Now, are there college leagues out there in Japan?
There's college leagues, and again, like the level of ball over there, like their top college league would probably be a little bit more to the equivalent of maybe like Division III college football,
which is still impressive.
Which is still impressive without a doubt. So there's some guys that I end up seeing. There'll be some guys that the way they move, the way the ball comes off there, and the consistency that they have, and I'm like, this kid could play at a probably 1AA level out over here, you know? So, yeah, it's impressive. A lot of these guys, man, for sure.
A lot of them are teaching themselves too, right?
Yeah, there's again, students of the game. You know, it's not like we're popping on some film of Aaron Rodgers and they're like, "Who's that?" Right? Like they've done their digging. They've watched guys. You know, like they're fans of you know, so many different American players. You know, that are out here, and you know, I think we've done a great job over here to set a really high standard. You know, so those guys are watching those guys, and occasionally you'll get that opportunity watching the leagues over there, and they're gonna be fans of like a Garrett Safran. You know, watching what he does.
Love Garrett.
There, you know, yeah. So that's been really cool that they've been able to see that. I mean, just the way this game is able to bring us all together, man, is really cool.
All right. Episode 1, we're done. We're back. Season 2 is going to be here. A bunch of episodes coming your way. Now, for preview for this season, we are calling it seasons because we never know when Danny's going to disappear. Probably in July. He's going to be gone for 18 weeks because we don't know which private jet he's on. But coming up this season, we're going to have Danny's reunion with Bryce Young. Finally get to talk to him. You had a little breakfast with him.
Yeah.
A little breakfast with Bryce. Yeah. The portal. Holy smokes.
Yeah.
I have no idea what you text me a lot of times.
It's wild.
And then the next day, it's completely different from what you told me 12 hours before.
Yeah.
Because the portal is out of control.
Very true.
And also, I've been watching you train a couple of these middle school kids. And I don't ever, when I go see Danny work out, I don't ever get involved. I stay away from a distance. I'm like, these kids are in junior high?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
So the future is bright out there.
Without
For
a
Danny
doubt.
Hernandez, I'm Beth Duran. Thanks for watching the Dimecast podcast brought to you by SOA Sports. And make sure you subscribe. Make sure you rate. Make sure you review. And just post us on Instagram and tell the people, hey, it be your own.
Be your own.